Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News. And Merry Christmas to all of you. This is when I expect the video to go out, so that should be pretty cool. I guess, I have to say thank you for the last 3 or 4 months, and for not just the people who've been here since almost the beginning on this channel, but the people who have come along later. I know that the start of this channel was rather rocky and cringy, to say the least. But as time went on, there was a level of progression, slightly, I suppose. I guess that's up for debate. And I just really appreciate you guys being here, man, and just giving me what's probably the most valuable thing that you guys have these days is time. You know what I mean? You could be spending it, listening to anybody else and probably getting more out of it. But I very much appreciate the time that you guys allow me to have to kind of just hear my thoughts and whatnot. And that's something that I think all YouTubers in some way, shape, or form can appreciate. So I'm very grateful to all that. I'm also very grateful to a lot of the others in this, amongst the detractors who have come through on my videos and just, left a comment and whatnot. I very much appreciate it. I don't really ever get to see those things. It's something that I have to go back later, or one of the fellows here end up pointing out. Like Argent was actually on one of my videos a couple months back, and we completely missed it. So shouts out to him. Thank you. Actually, I saw a little bit of his of that 3-hour stream that he had, and shouts out to Ronan, by the way, who actually had timestamped some of the more critical parts that he felt that needed to be pointed out, and so I'll try to throw some of that in the news broadcast. But let's not talk about that. As you know, Phil has had his Christmas special, his alcohol fueled Christmas special. I heard it wasn't very good, to be perfectly honest with you. I heard that that piss water that he called alcohol didn't really do much of anything. He said he was drunk, and then he said he was starting to sober up, or I don't know, whatever. But I heard that was very uneventful, which I think all of us should have known that. And I heard he had some interesting stuff to say. I didn't watch it yet, so I'll get back on that at a later time and date. Sticking to my MO. But I think, and this is going to seem a bit odd, but kind of bear with me, I wish Phil a Merry Christmas too. You know what I mean? As well as his community. And you're probably like, well, GTG, why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't do that for you. And I was like, that's not the point, to be perfectly honest with you. That's as true of a statement as that is. That's not the point, to be honest. The reason why is because, in truth, what does Phil really have to look forward to? I'm not saying that I'm a psychic. I'm not saying that I'm a prophet. But let's be perfectly honest with you. We're just going to go into a brand new year of DSP, which means DSP News, which means, great ones like Volt Boy and Almighty Tevin and Theo and Argent and everybody else. And it's just going to be the same shenanigans. Phil's not going to get his channel's not going to get any bigger. He's not going to become any better of a person. And it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same old cycle. How long? I can't remember when I first started watching Tevin, but it must have been at least back in 2016, I think. Something like that. And how long has DSP been at like the 180,000 mark as it pertains to subscribers? For a long ass time. You know what I mean? And it's not growing. You know what I mean? I hear that he's up to 317 subscribers on his Twitch. Where's the real growth at? You know what I mean? He's been doing that for most of the year. Why is he not at 500 subscribers yet? The community isn't growing. The pond is actually shrinking. to be honest with you. Actually, a couple of you shot me a video by a guy. Something. I can't think of your name at the moment, my dude. Where you had talked about why you ended up leaving Dspgaming and Darksydephil. I need to go over that video, by the way. But I can guess what's in it, and I would assume it's the bullshit that's on the live streams. It's some of the crap that just goes on. It has to be really just the live streams. Something happened over there, because I heard the ban hammer was thrown around rather liberally the last couple nights and whatnot over the span of the last 2 or 3 weeks. And people are just getting fed up with it. Why would you give this man your time, let alone your money? But why would you give this guy your time? Sorry, that brandy eggnog's getting to me. If he doesn't appreciate it, you know what I'm saying? You guys could easily spend your money elsewhere. You're starting to see kind of something similar to that to Spoony 1. Merry Christmas, Spoony 1 too, by the way. And the fact that you have this group of people that hold out this hope for him, despite the fact that he spends all day, quote unquote, banning people left and right. It's just kind of the progression that's come along with this, with the old guard, so to speak. Phil has been harping on about his 10 years on YouTube, and he looks at it as some type of triumph, like it's something to be proud of, and whatnot. And maybe the first half of that decade is something to be proud of, except for you didn't save any of your money and you burned a bunch of bridges in the background. But what happened in the last part of it, though? You know what I'm saying? Your legacy is, I would say your legacy in a lot of ways isn't actually measured by the beginning. It's usually by the end and whatnot. Your last 5 years have been horrible. And I can only guess that in some of his recent streams and whatnot, and a lot of the videos that you guys have sent me links to, I'm going to hear that, you know, I've been here for 10 years. And despite all the ups and downs, I'm still here doing it my way, and you know all these other guys, they sold out, but I didn't. You know, so like you didn't sit there and get sponsorship, like you didn't shill out items, like you're not doing that now. So you have sold out. Everybody sells out. You know what I mean? You can still be you and make some money for yourself. You're the one that chose to do this for a living, so you kind of had to. Yet again. These are that's one example of why Phil kind of needs, in a lot of ways, you gotta hope for him to have a Merry Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Just from a general decency standpoint. You know what I mean? For someone who spends the majority of his time taking advantage of other people, because that's all he knows. You know what I mean? His downfall will come. It just is what it is. I'm not wishing for it. It's just going to happen. You know, like there's a rather provocative discussion going on as we speak that, you know, hey, have the detractors taken things too far? Has the haters taken too far? Do we really want to see this man out on the street? Well, the answer to that is he really going to be out on the street? It's not like he doesn't have somewhere else to go. If things in Seattle don't work out, he can always go back home. Just because he doesn't want to go back home doesn't mean he can't. And then when you say that, it's not just going back home as into his parents. He can go back to the condo that he owns too. So it's not like the man doesn't have options. You know what I mean? And whatnot. It's just, this is what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. 2018, unless some really big strides come into play, it's going to be the same as last year, or it's going to be the same as this year, I should say. And in truth, I don't know about you guys, and I'm pretty confident that you guys have no hatred against him. I don't. I hate what he does, you know what I'm saying? But I can't hate him because he's just silly at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? He's someone who's not in control of himself, let alone anything else. You know what I mean? And the little bubble that he wants to try to control, he can't even do that right. You know what I mean? It's just, it's another year of this. And in truth, who's losing at the end? None of you guys are losing. You know what I mean? After I make this video, after it goes up, I step away from it, and then that's it. You know, he gets, you know, I put X amount of time into these videos, and then I step away from it, and then I go back to my life. When you guys listen to this video, or to an Almighty Tevin's video, or a Snort Burnell, or a Marcus Daily Productions, now that he's back in the mix, shouts out to him, or to an Argent, or to whoever, you you check the video, you go into the comments and whatnot, and then you just move on with your day. But Phil is the one who chose to live this and call it success. And in truth, excuse me, this isn't success. I mean, granted, success is measured is in truth subjective. You can measure what your success is compared to somebody else's. But I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't know if seeing myself up here begging you for money day in, day out is considered success. I don't think my 10-year legacy of doing it my way and refusing to change defines success, especially if the last 10 years, in the lateral of those 10 years of that decade, you're begging children to give you money. You know what I mean? You got one, and then you have. I was reading one of your guys' comments recently. One of you guys think well, some of you actually, it's not even just one of you. Some of you think that Golden Colts may not even really be a real person. It's just Phil kind of feeding money to himself. And then you got Brightside Viking, who can run around here ruckshot and do pretty much whatever he wants and get away with it. Because Phil won't get rid of him, because Phil can't get rid of him. And the thing is Brightside Viking knows that too. Brightside Viking knows that Phil can't afford to get rid of him, so he can pretty much do what he wants unimpeded. It makes you wonder who's the real puppet, who's the real puppeteer. But that's neither here nor there. We're not here for the news today, ladies and gentlemen. It's the holiday season, and it's Christmas. It's Christmas. So eggnog laced with whatever spirit of your particular choice. The Christmas Story, Charlie Brown Christmas Special, Frosty the Snowman, and whatever else that you enjoy watching. It's supposed to be a time for your friends, for your family, for the people who are important in your life. I do know that Phil said that he looks at his fans as the most stable part of his life, and probably the most important thing that he really has. I can kind of sympathize with him to an extent, though I do not know any of you at all on a personal level and whatnot. I do very much appreciate you. In truth, you know, I spend a little bit of time with you guys each week, and I think that means a lot. And I think Phil himself doesn't really understand that. I think from a sympathy standpoint, he wants to say that, but in truth, I don't think he really understands or values that. And that, yet again, is why you should wish Phil a Merry Christmas. Because, in truth, he doesn't have any human decency, nor does he understand it. You have to pity him, to be honest with you. And I'm not saying that you should use Christmas as a reason to pity anybody throughout the year and then bash them the rest. But in truth, whether you guys hear this or not, however you decide to spend your Christmas day, you're going to be around your friends, your family, your loved ones. Whether it's your pets, to whether, you know, actual family in general. In truth, Phil doesn't have that. By choice. By choice. But Phil doesn't have that. I'm not saying that any of you guys have to feel bad for him. I'm not saying that you guys have to co-sign anything that I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, at least for the last week, I've given him a break. For the last 4 months that I've been doing videos, that is his Christmas present. Just as the last couple years Almighty Tevin has been doing videos on him, and anybody else who tried to actually put some common sense to what he does. If it's the gift that it's the gift that essentially keeps on giving. It's yet another reason why Phil needs detractors. But if he chooses not to pay attention to the gift, then it is what it is. You know what I mean? You know, it is what it is. He can only push his fan base so far. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, appreciate the people that are around you. Whether they give you time, whether they give you money, whether they give you advice, appreciate it. Because in truth, they didn't have to. In truth, they did not have to. No one does. Because in truth, if the detractors and the trolls left Phil, what happens to Phil? Where's his relevance? Who does he blame for his problems? Who is it that's working behind the scenes? Trying to wage his downfall. He can blame YouTube and all these people, all these faceless people, all he wants. He needs detractors, because that's a physical person he can point to. Hey, that's his channel, that's his Twitter, that's his Instagram. That's that person who's bothering me. You can talk all you want about Google, about YouTube, about Machinima, or about whatever else, and they're all faceless people. Occasionally a name might be thrown out there, but what else really comes about it? It's neither here nor there. So, ladies and gentlemen, in closing, and I guess doing holiday videos kind of makes sense because we did Thanksgiving, so I guess doing Christmas kind of works out too. Ladies and gentlemen, Merry Christmas. Okay, Merry Christmas. I wish that to each and every one of you, from people who have been subscribed to the channel since the very beginning. Shouts out to Jimmy. To people who help me out with just getting information, Doom amongst others, to people who aren't even subbed, who just come through, watch the video, and bounce. And to the haters, you know what I'm saying, because there are some of you. I appreciate you guys coming through. That's all I can really say. And whatnot, to be honest with you. But just something to think about, ladies and gentlemen. Just something to kind of brood on. You know what I mean? It's the holiday season. I'm not saying you have to go over there and watch his videos. I'm not saying you have to thumb up anything. I'm not saying that you guys have to do anything more than what you guys already do. But if you don't mind, well, I already said it, so I guess whether if you mind or not is kind of off point. But I wish all of you Merry Christmas. Everybody, you know, from the people that I guess I'm not sure if I can really call them my peers, because they've been doing this a lot longer, put in a lot more work than I did. But from fellow detractors on to, you know, Phil and his fan base themselves, man. You know, slowly but surely, everybody has to wake up one day and realize the fault in their ways. Not just Phil, but myself as well as anybody else. It's a process. I think for Phil, though, I think Phil he doesn't see the need to, because he doesn't see a need to do anything wrong. Eventually, DSP News, for example, is gonna end up kind of going by the wayside, and someone else will end up picking up the reins and kind of pick up the tradition. Maybe. I guess as long as Phil's around, there's always going to be someone that's going to have something to say against him. It's just kind of the way it is. The thing is that number would minimize if he would be willing to change. You know what I mean? You can't say that, oh, I'm trying to stay true to myself, when you really don't know who you are. That's neither here nor there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. A GTG network and productions. I am toasted off this eggnog. Ugh, delicious, delicious, delicious eggnog. But ladies and gentlemen, yet again, Merry Christmas and whatnot. Let me know what you guys are doing for your, well, not on Christmas Day, just the day after Christmas Day or the day after that. Let me know what you guys did. Did you guys have a good time? Did you guys get what you wanted? Did you spend your time with the people that you love and care for? I think that's probably one of the best comments out of all comments. Sometimes it's not about what you give, or it's what you receive, but it's what you give. I like that. It's not necessarily a Hallmark card, but it's pretty close. Pretty close. All right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and watch Ralphie beat up a bully on A Christmas Story and catch some Charlie Brown later. And then I'm going to eat with the fam. I'll holler at you guys later. This is GTG signing off. End of broadcast. Oh, I still got a news story to do later. Oh my god.